Time for another niche video that about 1% of people are going to watch about journalism. You know, in business classes, they always say find a niche and double down on it. Well, make sure you don't choose too narrow of a niche, like digital media for journalists and up-and-coming journalists. That might be too much of a niche. But today, let's talk about the difference between YouTube videos and Facebook videos, and why some videos do really well on YouTube and other videos do really well on Facebook, and not always the same videos. My most popular videos on Facebook that I ever made, 3 videos. One was about a secret code in Central Park in New York City. The second was about a goldfish surgery that some veterinarian in Australia performed for $500. Yes, somebody took their goldfish and paid $500 to get it resuscitated because the goldfish had swallowed a pebble. And the third story was about a couple girls at a private school up in Boston who got kicked out of school for adding hair extensions because it was a private school, and they were told, oh, that was against company policy. Now, these girls were black, and they had added braid hair extensions, although they pointed out, you know, we go to school with a lot of white girls. They have, you know, hair extensions. They weren't kicked out. So one was a serious reporting story in Boston. One was just a ridiculous little pop culture story in Australia. And the third was kind of an interesting, you know, today I learned story. But what do these all have in common? What they all have in common is that they're easily shareable, meaning when somebody sees it on their Facebook, both the headline is interesting and the content is like, oh, my friend or my family should know about this, one, or this speaks to me. This is either hilarious or outrageous. It hammers down on 2 emotions, which is either like crazy hilarious or like outrageous in a negative way. And those are the 2 ways that content really gets shared on Facebook and goes viral. It has to tap into that share function, which is a certain emotion, you know, in the kind of amygdala of the human brain, which is different than YouTube. And if you're wondering what kind of numbers I'm talking about, the goldfish video did about 15 million views, the Boston hair braids video did about 15 million views, and the Central Park video that I just did all on my own, took me about a weekend, that did about 4 million views. That's Facebook. Now, a good example of this is, let's take the Central Park video, you know, the secret code in Central Park lamppost, which went super viral on Facebook, 4 million views. Just produced it with my iPhone, did a little fun fact today I learned. I also put it up on YouTube, and it's sitting at around 10,000 views. So you have 4 million, can't even capture this all on the screen, 4 million views and 10,000 on YouTube. The exact same video. So why did it go so viral on Facebook and not YouTube? Well, secret codes in Central Park lampposts, it doesn't have to be a searchable term, right? All somebody has to do is see that on their newsfeed, be like, oh, there's a cool little secret code in Central Park lampposts. I'm going to share this. I'm going to share with my friends that have just been in New York. I'm going to share with my family who's thinking about visiting New York. Oh, my boyfriend, girlfriend just got back from New York. Oh, I have my cousin that's living in New York. Hey, did you know this? Did you know this? Did you know this? And so it can proliferate that way through the sharing button. Whereas YouTube is mainly search driven. Whereas Facebook doesn't really have a search function, right? Nobody goes to Facebook and searches videos. Nobody's searching on Facebook, how do I fix the oil in my car on Facebook? That's just not the type of videos that are consumed on Facebook. The type of videos that are consumed on Facebook are shareable videos that appeal to certain emotions, which I talked about earlier, that, you know, the kind of outrageous or the kind of insane, crazy, funny. YouTube is a different ballgame. And the way YouTube videos go viral, for lack of better words, especially when there's not, you know, a brand or some sort of personality behind it that already has an ingrained audience, is it has to be a searchable term, right? And it has to be somewhat in the public conversation. Less so on Facebook. Facebook actually cares less about the public conversation. It doesn't have to be particularly newsworthy to go viral. It can be just some insane, you know, Uber driver clip or some insane, you know, cat clip, right? It doesn't actually have to be tied to any sort of zeitgeist going on in the world. Whereas YouTube, right, because it's mainly search and recommendation videos, but to get there, most people are searching videos first and then getting recommended videos along those search terms. So the YouTube has to be geared towards search. So the Central Park video, where it's like a secret code in Central Park lamppost, if nobody knows that thing exists, nobody knows to search for it. And therefore, there's just not that many people searching, is there a secret code in Central Park lamppost, right? That's just, nobody would ever think to search that. And so it doesn't get any views. That's just the nature of the platform on YouTube versus the nature of the platform on Facebook. Whereas, you know, tech review videos, how-to videos, these videos do really well on YouTube because they're kind of the subject matter, that thematic, like how-to tech reviews, like, hey, what's the best iPhone to buy? What's the best camera to buy? What's the best book? Those things do really well because they're driven by search. There's somebody going on YouTube and making it look like Google and typing in a search function, and then they click the video, right? And then the recommended bar is giving recommended videos based on that search function ultimately. So YouTube videos that go viral are driven and geared for search, whereas videos that go viral on Facebook are geared for shares. And those are 2 different things. And so when you're making videos, if you're making videos for a company or making videos on your own, what you should think about in the back of your mind, it's easier said than done, is this a YouTube video or a Facebook video? Am I framing this video or this story or whatever it is, you know, it could just be a story. The video could just be a story about something, but am I framing it so that it's searchable, right? Is a lot of people going to be searching this? Like, why are advertising laws different in the United Kingdom versus the United States? Tom Scott did a great video on this on YouTube, which is really searchable because one, just a searchable question, like, because there are differences, and two, it was a time where in the cultural zeitgeist, what was trending was that the Ofcom, which is kind of the British regulatory committee for what can be broadcast, was clamping down on influencers and YouTubers running advertisements on their videos, which are totally different rules than what the United States has. The United States is much more Wild West when it comes to advertising on videos than in the UK. So one, it was tapping into that kind of cultural zeitgeist question of like what's going on, and two, is answering a question. A lot of people were searching it. Perfect for virality. Whereas Facebook, right, that's less shareable. What's this random guy with an umbrella near Trafalgar Square talking about, you know, YouTube regulations? This is not shareable at all. My aunt doesn't care about this. Next, right? And so it didn't do very well on Facebook, but it did extremely well on YouTube. So those are two differences. Facebook is geared to share, and YouTube is geared to search. Whenever you're creating a piece of content, it's important to keep that in mind. Is this video searchable or is it shareable? And that'll help, you know, one, think about how you're framing videos and think about what platform it's natively going to live best on. Anyway, just kind of a insightful tip, hopefully, for future creators, journalists, video people, media people that want to get into the industry. It's something that gets thought about a lot at media companies that are smart, and not a lot at media companies that are not very smart. And there's a lot of media companies existing that are pretty big that are not very smart. And if you were to present this information to them in a nice little PowerPoint or spreadsheet, you get a lot of bonus points at work, guarantee it. Anyway, that's about it. Oh, a little history lesson for you guys. Did you know it's the Third French Republic that is basically responsible for how Paris is today? They did most of the renovations in the late 1800s. So when you go to Paris and you're walking up, you know, the Champs-Elysees or you're Saint Germain, most of those beautiful, you know, layouts and the spread of the way Paris is, that was mainly developed actually in the late 1800s. It's not as old as you think. That's why in some ways Paris makes much more geometrical shape than London does. Is that Paris, the Haussmann architecture, named after Haussmann, was a person that really totally redesigned Paris in the late 1800s under Napoleon III. And so that's why Paris has such a unique feel geometrically, whereas London doesn't. London never had a kind of overhauled top-down government saying like, you know, there's a lot of slums, let's like reorganize the city to make it look beautiful. Anyway, kind of an interesting history tip. Third French Republic, Napoleon III, it was the late 1800s. The architecture that you think about when you're walking around the Champs-Elysees and Saint Germain, like the classic Saint Germain Boulevard, if you've ever been to Paris, that is relatively new. That does not go all the way back to the, you know, time of Notre Dame or the Middle Ages. That is a classic, instead that's a classic La Belle Epoque era, the same as the Gilded Age or the Victorian Age in London in the United States. Anyway, there's a little history lesson for you guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you want me to talk about something in the media, leave a comment down below. If you want to watch another video, click around. Thanks as always for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.